Two Republicans, one who might run for mayor, the other seeking to unseat Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. The Point starts right now. John Catsimatidis sought the Republican nomination for mayor in 2013. It didn't end well then, but times have certainly changed, and now he's thinking about running again. So, John, you ready to throw your hat into the ring?
Well, we're certainly thinking about it and discussing it. The biggest problem is New York City, we're at the edge of a disaster. And that's what I'm afraid of. And I love New York, Marcia. And, you know, we've been there. We were there together in 2013. And New York City is the greatest city in the world. And we had 20 great years under Rudy Giuliani and then 12 years of Michael Bloomberg. We had great police commissioners. We had Ray Kelly and we had Bill Bratton. And New York, the greatest city in the world. No hurricanes, no earthquakes. And if we only had safety in our streets.
Well, you know, you say we're at the edge of a disaster. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about losing the people that could afford to move. You
think people are leaving?
I think people are leaving. I think 500,000 people left since COVID. Especially in New York City, and it's the people that could afford to move that move.
So if you were to run for mayor, what would you do?
First of all, the number one situation, make the city safe. We used to walk around at night. Our graffiti stores, the Agostino stores were open to midnight. Our restaurants were open till 11 o'clock at night. We used to walk around the east side of New York, the west side of New York, all over New York, and people felt safe.
And they don't feel safe now?
We don't feel safe. No matter what the statistics are, nobody believes them.
I mean, the mayor says that this is the safest city in the United States, that the crime numbers since he took office have come down dramatically. You don't agree with that?
I don't think you believe him either.
I'm not allowed to say one way or the other.
Okay. I think the reality is I would not allow my kids to go into subways. I would not allow my kids to go in buses. I worry about them.
So how would you change it if you were mayor?
I put my foot down. You know what it is? You put your foot down and you say, and you challenge the state Senate. You challenge the state assembly on the stupid law they made on this bail law, and say enough is enough.
Well,
people want to be.
Did challenge them on the bail law, but the legislature is very liberal, and they didn't want to change it.
Well, sometimes you have to just put your foot down, and there's many ways. Do you think if Mayor Bloomberg was mayor right now, or if Mayor Giuliani was mayor right now, he would accept that? You don't accept it. You do something about it. And you take away the whole police detail from the state assembly.
Okay, so let me ask you this. We're now in a situation in New York City where there's a new poll that's out this week that says that people would like the mayor to resign, and only 7% think he's not guilty. So what should the mayor do? Do you think he should resign? Do you think he should step aside? What's your thought?
I think, look, I always liked Eric Adams. If he did something stupid, then I'd be disappointed a lot. Did he get an upgrade on an airline ticket? Sure. We all get an upgrade.
Is that a bad thing?
That's not a bad thing. And you get an upgrade on a hotel room? That's not a bad thing. If there's something really serious where the law enforcement wants to put them in jail.
So so far you're not convinced that there's anything serious?
I'm an old-fashioned guy. I believe in a person is guilty when he's proven guilty.
So,
you know, it's like Hank
Greenberg. Don't think the mayor should
when
resign?
New York Post put in the front page of Hank Greenberg was guilty. Guess what? They ruined a company that was worth $185 billion, AIG. If Hank Greenberg was there, do you think AIG would have went bankrupt?
I don't know. But
I don't think so.
Here's the deal. Do you think that the mayor should resign?
Do I think that the mayor, if it's a point where then that he cannot manage the city anymore, probably.
Have we reached that point?
We're getting close.
How much more? I mean, it seems like every day there's another problem.
I think that what the law enforcement is trying to accomplish is get all the people around him, make the people around him sweat to the point where they're going to say, yes, he did something wrong.
So you're not convinced he did anything wrong? That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, let's wait and see. Don't forget, the rule of law in our country the last few years was a little bit, you scratch your head about it.
So do you think that...
Do you think Donald Trump was guilty of going in and raping a woman and what was it, Bergdorf Goodman?
Do you think he's...
I don't think he was.
So, but that's not what he was charged with.
I know, but it's similar to the rule of law, what's going on in our country.
So do you think Kathy Hochul should step in and remove Mayor Adams from his office?
If she believes that he is at a point where he can't govern the city the right way, then she would do that.
Do you think we're at a point where we can't govern the city?
I think we're very close.
What has to happen that would make you say we're at the tipping point?
That they're ready to actually arrest him and put him away.
So what if you were to run for mayor, what would you bring to New York City?
Oh, I think we need a lot of reforms. Look, I've been in the city for 70 years, over 70 years, and I love our city. It was the greatest place in the world. I want to be able to walk around and feel safe. I'm not against bicycles, but you can't have bicycles going the wrong way on streets. I mean, when you get out of a taxi, you have to look both ways.
What do you do about that? Do you have to send the police and say, instead of fighting crime, we need you to stand on the corner and ticket bicycles that are going through red lights and are going the wrong way?
No, absolutely. Everybody.
So how do you stop it?
I would hire more policemen, too. You do what you have to do. We have a lot of policemen, and you have to give priorities. You don't want to, people, if you take 100 people walking by the streets and you ask them what the most dangerous thing there is, they're not afraid of getting hit by a truck. They're not afraid of getting hit by a car. You know what they're afraid of? What? Getting hit with those bicycles or those mopeds. So you want a quality of life, Marcia.
So do you think that you should make people who ride bicycles and scooters have license plates? So then you could take the license plate number down and ticket them.
I think look, they love riding bicycles. That's fine with me, but they've got to be accountable. You can't do the wrong way. I got a friend of mine got hit by a bicycle, a moped. You know why? He was looking the way it was a one-way street going up 3rd Avenue. The guy was coming down the wrong way. What kind of life is that? That's not quality of life.
So would you remove the bicycle lanes? Would you remove the bicycles? Would you limit them to certain places?
I think they have the right to do it, but I wouldn't close down our streets where we create congestion. You know why we create congestion? So you could charge them for congestion pricing.
So
that's wrong.
I take it you're against congestion pricing.
I think it's wrong. I think how many tolls are you going to pay? The people from Staten Island, have to pay a toll for the bridge, a toll for the tunnel, and then a toll to get into Manhattan. I mean, enough is enough. We don't mind paying. We don't mind paying, but we want to feel safe at least.
So who's going to pay to upgrade the MTA is over 100 years old. Who's going to pay to fix the signals and the stations and everything else? I think
the MTA, the city, has to be more accountable on the budget.
You're talking about more taxes.
I'm talking about bringing in people that will make sure it's properly accountable and the numbers are right. I mean, when I ran for mayor in 2013, the budget was $49 billion, $47 billion.
Now it's double, more than double that.
$110 billion. Now, I'll give you another example.
We're going to have to, actually, we're going to have to leave it right there for now. But we'll be right back with a former transit cop who wants to send Senator Kirsten Gillibrand packing. Mike Sapraicone thinks 15 years in Washington is long enough for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. He wants her seat and is campaigning hard to get it. Why do you think she doesn't deserve to get reelected?
Well, I think, Marcia, she's kind of missing in action. As I travel these 62 counties, people say to me, so who are you running against? And that guy Chuck? And I say, no, the other senator. Well, who is he? Who is she? You know, people don't really seem to know. They know her name once they hear her name, but she hasn't been out there. She hasn't been out there with the people. They haven't seen her. They look at her that she stops here and there once or twice in the course of the 15 years. When I talk to elected officials on both sides of the aisles, they say, we've never seen her. We've never seen her in Endicott or this city or that city or this county.
So what's the best way to get that message out to people in New York that they shouldn't just, you know, pull the lever for a Democrat because this is a very Democratic state?
I think it's important to talk to people. I love to talk, and we could talk here for 3 hours, okay? So I think it's important to get your message out, to meet people, to mingle with people, to get to talk to people and to listen to people and hear what they have to say. I mean, I'm a cop. I'm a retired detective, and I look at a basic thing. If you were to put my opponent in a lineup, most people can't even pick her out of that lineup.
So let me ask you this. I know there's a lot of issues that people care about, and I know one of the big concerns is what's going on in the Middle East. What do you think should happen if you were elected to the Senate? What would your position be on what should happen in the Middle East? And would you support the United States supporting Israel's bombing of Iran?
I would. I would certainly support it. They're our strongest ally. But I think it's very important. I went there a month ago because I don't think it's fair that you, as an elected official or trying to be an elected official, you should talk about things you don't understand or don't know about. So I spent 4 days in Israel.
And what was your thought after spending time there?
It was tremendously enlightening. There were things I saw that I didn't even understand or realize. I mean, I was down at the Gaza border. I saw the kibbutz. I stood in places that were taken and bombed and people terrorized. I visited the Nova Festival, and and I'm a homicide detective. What a terrible sight. You know, with over 350 people were killed and massacred. I went up to the northern border, and I haven't worn a bulletproof vest or a helmet in many, many years. Went to the northern border, and they told us, you're going to hear a siren, but when you hear that, it's probably too late because the missiles have hit. We're right across from Lebanon, and you could see Lebanon. So we went with an armored car. We went with the head of the regional police and the head of the IDF up there. And this was a city of 26,000 people that were now down to 3,000 people. Everybody else had been moved down south. And it was a very quiet morning, and they were very, wow, this is a good morning. You hear it's quiet. There's no real bombings. We saw the shrapnel. We're able to see the burnt-out homes.
So would you support Israel bombing Iran in order to end? Do you think, I mean, are you looking for a ceasefire in Gaza? Are you looking for a ceasefire in the Middle East? Or do you think there should be more war, more bombing, especially Iran?
Well, no one wants to see more war. No one wants to see more bombing. But Hamas broke the ceasefire back on October 7th of last year. I think it's important that we allow Israel to do what they need to do, because Israel is fighting not just for Israel, they're fighting for us. Who do you think the next targets are? And when we talk about the border, you'll see this could be us. This very easily could be us in the very near future.
So when it's all over, do you think there should be a two-state solution, or what should happen?
I think it's something we should look at and make sure it's done the correct way. If it's not done the correct way, it's not worth doing it.
So New York City has been hit with corruption scandal. The mayor has been indicted. I wonder if you think it's time for him to resign.
We still live in a democracy. I think he needs to be. I think we need to go through the process. I think if he's hurting the city and can't get his job done, then he should step down. But I think we need to let the system play out.
Are we at that point where he needs to resign, or do you think he can still manage the day-to-day operations of the city, keep people safe?
I think he can still keep people safe with the police commissioner and everybody else. I think he needs to get his due process. But I think once he can't do it anymore, he needs to step away.
There are some people who think that in government in Washington there should be term limits. The president is talking about term limits for the Supreme Court, and some people have talked about term limits for the House and the Senate. What's your position on that?
Well, I think certainly for the House and the Senate, there should be term limits. I mean, I look at some politicians who've been around for 50 years. I don't think our founding fathers meant that we should have politicians who have been around forever. It's meant for people to come in with new ideas and fresh ideas. I would say 2 terms for the United States Senate.
That would be 12 years.
12 years. I would say 3 terms for the United States Congress, 6 years.
Really? Only 6 years?
I think 6 years is plenty. I think that's fine. I think in that position, you know, you have more House of Representatives. I think that should be a bigger turnover. I think there should be more opportunity there because you're governing more of a local thing, your district. Supreme Court, I think the purpose of having the Supreme Court not have term limits is, I look at politicians and people trying to be politicians, and you're pandering to your base and everything else. The purpose of the Supreme Court, and I think why we did it as a lifelong position, they shouldn't have to be running for positions.
But when they first did it, the lifespan of the average American at the time was like, 40 years. It wasn't 80 years.
Is it 80 now?
I mean, it's something like that. There are some people who are in their 70s and 80s on the court.
Right.
But here's the question. The president's proposal is to add more people to the Supreme Court and have people retire at a certain age. Would you accept that?
I don't know if I'd accept it. I'd have to look at it a little bit more. I think, my opponent said something like she would not be so opposed to putting 12 people on the Supreme Court. But you're a person who's been a senator for 15 years. I was a school board representative. You need an odd number of people. Okay, for instance, why do we have the Vice President of the United States is now the President of the Senate, so he or she could cast that deciding vote? Well, if we have 12 people on the Supreme Court, who's going to cast that deciding vote? So we need an odd number of people, and I don't think there should be a term limit to it.
And how do you feel about abortion? Would you support a national ban on abortion?
I would not.
Why not?
I don't think that ever should be. A woman should have her right to do it. I think it should be back in the states where it is now. I don't necessarily agree with New York's. I think it's a little too liberal here in New York State, but it's the law. And I think we should realize it's over 50 years ago was under a Republican governor and a Republican legislation that we put that in effect and made abortion legal here in New York.
So if you get elected, what would you do about Social Security? The Social Security Trust Fund is about to expire in 2036. There are reports that if only 70% of the money would be collected, so would you support cutting benefits by 23% or increasing taxes so that you could give people their benefits?
Tough question, but I'm eligible for Social Security, and you talked about the life expectancy now so much higher. I haven't taken my benefits yet. I think it's important to support Social Security, and we should be able to get our seniors as much benefits as we can.
So you'd increase taxes?
I don't think I would want to increase taxes. First of all, I don't think that's the way to do it.
So how do you make sure people get the benefits they're getting now?
I think we need to cut some fat other places. And I think we need to look at that and where we spend some of our money that might be better resourced in other places. And I think that's important. I can't say that if we increase taxes, that'll make it better, because that'll just hurt the economy more. So I think we need to look at a plan, put a plan in effect, and make it better for our seniors and still make taxes reasonable for us.
What about Medicare?
I'm on Medicare now, too. And it's very difficult to understand. But I think Medicare should stay. I think it should be. I don't think we should have socialized medicine. I think it's important to have Medicare.
But also that the Medicaid funds are expiring as well.
Well, I think we need, again, just like SALT is expiring also, I think we need to look at those rules. I think a problem I have with Medicare, being on Medicare, there's a lot of conflict and a lot of confusion on who really gets Medicare, who's getting double benefits.
Okay.
It's a disaster to try, once you turn a certain age and you retire, to be able to figure out who's really got your coverage. And when you call, you get no satisfaction whatsoever. And God forbid you try to go there and wait online for 6 hours. So we need to look at the process.
Mike Sapraicone, thank you very much for being here. We're going to have to leave it right there for now. But our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York. Thank you for joining me. They say money makes the world go round, but who's supposed to teach you how to manage it? New Yorkers are weighing in on your point. Who taught you how to pay your bills and balance your checkbook?
That's a good question.
My parents.
My first boss at my first job.
I think I taught myself.
My mom told me everything I know.
Elementary school?
You learned in elementary school. That's great.
My parents.
I think my mother and father taught me how to do that.
You learn as you go along, I guess.
My mom helped me a lot. She always thought it was important for women to be like knowing about banking, so she taught me about, you know, depositing checks and withdrawing.
Who taught you how to balance your checkbook and to pay your bills?
I did.
You learned yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
My parents set a good example, but I guess I had to figure it out on my own.
Well, so do you think you got enough information in order to maybe be successful at it?
No.
Kind of.
I think so.
Oh, I sure did, yeah.
My dad was adamant about making my checkbook balance.
It's always more difficult in reality than what it is, and you know, when it's been explained to you.
Why is it important to know how to balance your checkbook and handle your finances?
So you can better prosper in America without the help of others.
They say like money is what, you know, makes the world go around, so I think it's important to know how to spend money, save money.
So that you don't get into debt. To take care of yourself in life so you're not relying on other people.
So you learn how to survive.
It's important to be able to manage your money and set goals and make a future.
Do you think young people are given enough information about finances?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I don't know. I think it's probably not.
I think we should do a way better job at teaching young people how to handle their money.
Well, certainly as parents, we pass on information to our kids. Whether they follow it, I don't know.
I would have loved to learn about that in school.
So do you think young people are given enough information about finances?
No.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like when they get money in their hand, they just spend. They need to learn how to
And
save.
people don't tell you how to save?
No, they don't teach you how to save.
Do you think that financial literacy should be taught in grade school?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an important skill to have in life. Yes, yes, yes. That's a part of life. You need to learn how to save, count money. That's a way of surviving. I feel like that's, yes.